Crimisphere. Hello, welcome back to the Crimisphere, where we discuss crime and criminal behavior. If you want to support the channel and enjoy this type of content, the best way to support is to like the video and subscribe. Many thanks to returning subscribers. I appreciate you all. And for those who are new, I hope you enjoyed the video and will consider subscribing. Now let's get started. We are going to hop in the time machine for this one. Today's case takes us to a suburban neighborhood in Plains Township, Pennsylvania. A winter storm had recently hit the area, leaving about 2 feet of snow. Just before 9 a.m. on Monday, February 1st, 2021, police were dispatched after shots were fired on West Berg Street. When the police arrived, they found one body in the street and another in a driveway between two parked cars. Neighbors informed police that the person responsible was inside the house at 6 West Berg Street. As police prepared a tactical plan of approach, a single gunshot sounded from inside the home. Upon making entry, police found the body of 47-year-old Jeffrey Spaide, dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The argument and shooting was captured on surveillance video. Let's take a look.
Right.
Oh, you?
Oh, me? Yeah.
You?
Put the shovel
You
down.
know
What?
what?
Go ahead.
Look it, you know what? This is
Oh,
bullshit.
you want to call me a
We have
scummy
been-
motherfucker? I'll knock your goddamn head out your shoe. Motherfucker. You go fuck yourself, you fucking queer. Call me a scummy motherfucker. Step out here. I'll knock your ass out. Motherfucker. Fuck you.
Fuck you, you fucking
I'll
scum.
make your life a living hell living here, dickhead.
What?
You heard me.
Fuck you, you fucking scum.
You would probably.
You're the fucking scumbag!
No,
You don't
he's got a
fucking
gun
bother with
behind
nobody!
He's got a gun behind him. He's a fucking
scum.
You're a pussy.
Fuck you.
Pussy. Put the
Go
gun
ahead!
down.
Go ahead! Go
Put the
ahead!
gun down.
Go ahead!
Call the cops! Call the cops! I'm coming!
Oh my God! Jimmy! Jimmy!
Are you alright? You want help up? Are you okay?
Oh! Yeah! Oh my God!
What happened?
Jimmy!
What happened? Call 911. What happened? Just
Call
911. Go get my phone.
Oh my God!
What happened? No. Are you okay?
Jimmy!
What?
Jimmy! Call Ryan Blanchard!
You should have kept your fucking Pussy, huh?
Excuse me, Your Honor, I need to consult with my clients. Okay, before we move on, that was disturbing. And I know you couldn't see all of it, but trust me, it's very disturbing. So I just want to comment on things that I could hear because I've listened to and watched the video several times. And you can hear male voices, which I think are the teenagers that ran away who are neighbors. We found out from the documentary. Remember Bullets in the Snow? You can hear faintly them screaming, "Oh my God," like in complete panic as to what has happened to their neighbors, you know? Before the kill shots to Lisa Goy, you can hear her say, and I think she's talking to those teenagers, "Call Ryan Morency." I'm like, who is Ryan Morency? It never came out. I never saw in the article if we ever figured out who that was, but it just made me ask, like, who is Ryan Morency? Because those were her last words, literally. James Goy was 50 years old and his wife Lisa Goy was 48. According to neighbors, there was a long-running feud between Jeffrey Spaide and the Goys. They said the Goys lived on Westburg for about 15 years. They were described as the complete opposite personality types from their neighbor Jeffrey Spaide. James and Lisa were allegedly always loud, outspoken, and were known to be quite fun and social. In the documentary series titled Fear Thy Neighbor, in the episode called Bullets in the Snow, neighbors alleged the Goys were also known to fight over parking spaces, trash can placement, and property lines. They developed a reputation on the block of being aggressive and not the type to avoid confrontation or walk away from a fight. James and Lisa were quick to hurl insults, and as you heard in the video, they openly insulted Spaide and used homophobic slurs. Although the dispute, which ended with all three neighbors being dead, was over snow removal, past disputes were over things like coveted parking spaces on their narrow street. Spaide was clearly a target of their obnoxious and rude behavior, but he was not the only one. Allegedly, Lisa and James had fights with other neighbors for similar reasons. The other party in that deadly fight was 47-year-old Jeffrey Spaide. In Bullets in the Snow, neighbors described Jeffrey Spaide as reserved, quiet, and not one to socialize. In the documentary, the actor who played Jeffrey Spaide is depicted scowling and giving disapproving looks at the unruly neighborhood gatherings, which included Lisa and James Goy. They seemed to make clear that those block parties, or the Goys themselves, annoyed Spaide. Yet, he kept to himself and carried on quietly with whatever he was doing. Neighbors said Jeffrey Spaide dedicated a lot of time to working on his home and yard. Neighbors who witnessed some of those conflicts between the Goys and Spaide said Jeffrey was no pushover. He pushed back on James and Lisa, who were used to getting things their way with others on Westburg Street, which is consistent with what we saw in the surveillance video. The tit-for-tat name-calling and shouting went back and forth between the two parties. Before I read what Jeffrey Spaide's family wrote about him, can we talk about how I could not find a single confirmed photo of Jeffrey Spaide? I mean, was he in the FBI or CIA? How is that possible? Not in any articles or posts from prosecutors or police did I find a photo of this man. Nothing. That's strange, right? I mean, there's one photo floating around, but that's not him. Okay, so here's what Jeffrey Spaide's family wrote about him. Jeffrey Allen Spaide, 47, of Plains, Pennsylvania, passed away Monday, February 1st, 2021, at his home. Born in Wilkes-Barre on June 16, 1973, he was the son of William Spaide and the late Margaret Gibbon Spaide. Jeff graduated from Wilkes University with a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Engineering and a Master of Science in Water Resources and Environmental Engineering from Villanova University. Jeff was employed as a licensed engineer for over 20 years. He also served in the United States Navy, working as a shipboard engineering technician. He later transitioned into the United States Army National Guard and United States Navy Reserve as a heavy equipment operator. Jeff enjoyed running marathons and spending time with his family, especially his nephew, and spending time with his friends. He was a loving son, brother, and uncle who will be greatly missed by his family and friends. In addition to his father, he is survived by his sisters, a brother, nieces, and nephews. This goes to remind us that the person we saw commit such a brutal crime was someone completely different from who his family and friends knew. Humans are undoubtedly complex and multifaceted. There is a saying that says there are three sides to every story. In this case, there's Jeffrey Spaide's side, James and Lisa Goy's side, and the police's side. According to a joint statement from Luzerne County District Attorney Stephanie Salavantis and Plains Township Police Chief Dale Binker, the Goys were shoveling the snow from their parking spots, shoveling the snow across the road, and throwing the snow onto Spaide's property. Spaide asked them to stop. A heated exchange of words followed. Then James Goy threw a tool at Spaide. Prosecutors said surveillance video allegedly showed James Goy put his fist up and advanced towards Spaide. Spaide went into his house and returned with a pistol. The video showed Lisa Goy hold up a camera and repeatedly shout, "Go ahead, go ahead." Several shots were fired and appeared to initially miss James and Lisa Goy. The first sign of a bullet hitting one of them was when James Goy yelled and turned to run away. Soon after, Lisa Goy is also struck by a bullet and falls to the ground in the middle of the road. It was insane to witness Lisa continue to shout insults at Spaide after being shot. Most sane people would retreat to safety, perhaps back down, and change to pleading for mercy when faced with an opponent or situation that has turned dangerous, and one where you no longer have the advantage. It makes clear those two were stubbornly foolish to the very end. Spaide went back to his home and retrieved an AR-style rifle, then shot James and Lisa Goy again, killing them, and ultimately getting the last word. While researching this case, I came across what I would describe as a fan page for Jeffrey Spaide. I understand Jeffrey Spaide's unique position in this conflict. Many think he was a victim, and clearly also the assailant who committed a horrific crime. There is something terribly unsettling and scary about people paying tribute to a person capable of doing such violent and senseless acts. As a person that do not want others to make suburban streets into war zones, I vehemently condemn this. Let's look at a few of the posts so that you can see why. I was eating this delicious pie when the holes and the huge missing chunk at the bottom reminded me of that patriot work that our hero Jeffrey Spaide did to the faces of evil. I do not think anyone with an ounce of sanity or civility would try and defend the actions and words of James and Lisa Goy. They appeared to be the neighborhood bullies. The whole exchange was immature and unnecessary and never should have gone so far. We had three middle-aged adults. One would think cooler heads would have prevailed and someone's problem-solving skills would devise a way to make peace. After watching the documentary and hearing from neighbors closest to them, I think the Goys were rude and extremely entitled. The way they continued to make threats and use insulting language after Spaide appeared with the gun in hand was nothing short of lunacy. And here's another post. Don't forget to get your favorite person one of our Quiet Neighborhood t-shirts this holiday season. I could tell by the spelling that this is an American person that finds some sick humor in what happened. I do not understand the thinking of someone that would make such a post, even if it was meant as a joke or a gag gift. It demonstrates a cultural acceptance of violence and promotes our toxic gun culture. This is one of my biggest peeves about America. People have been radicalized by the Constitution's Second Amendment and now take an attitude of thinking guns and violence are the solution to trivial and minor problems. I will never be comfortable with that mentality. I mean, it's psychotic. And lastly, this post. I enjoyed a delicious snow cone today from one of our supporters. It was strawberry with a hint of pineapple and another tropical fruit. It is called You Should Have Kept Your Mouth Shut. Special and can be made with rum. And speaking of mouth shut, protect yourselves from coronavirus. If you recall, that's what was going on at the time. Isn't that sick though? Tell us you suffer with abnormal psychology without telling us you suffer with abnormal psychology. Like I said, this video went viral on social media due to the disturbing and graphic nature of the events. But in its wake, some questions should have been answered after the fact. The biggest question for me was, who is responsible for leaking this video? And why hasn't Luzerne County District Attorney Stephanie Salavantes gone after that person? And maybe she did, but I couldn't find anything on it. The only ones who could have possibly accessed the security cameras at the Goy's home immediately after the crime was police. Someone thought it was okay to leak this to the public, which I believe shows a depraved and cold-hearted person inside the Plains Township Police Department or those who process crime scenes. Allegedly. Wink, wink. If you watched my previous video on the Burgess case, I made clear that I do not want the paternalistic hand of the law to withhold things from the public. However, I also do not think it's ethical for police or the district attorney's office to do this to victims. Even though Lisa and James Goy were, to be frank, jerks, they were deceased and still deserve some respect. Which reminds me, I was researching and came across this. It's hard to process the level of trolling people do these days. I don't mind a little troll or two in the comments, but they're showing up on gravesite information? Like, really? It does not feel right that the video was released. I personally remember receiving it on WhatsApp back in 2021, but it also circulated on Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok before it was eventually removed. But as you know, nothing ever truly goes away once it makes it onto the information superhighway. After I clicked to watch the video, I once again regretted my curiosity. I do not think I will ever become accustomed to seeing this level of violence. The labored breaths from James Goy and hearing Lisa Goy attempt to summon for help, I can't imagine the PTSD the two teens suffer with after witnessing two public executions. And yes, two teens ran up to Lisa and James Goy, confused about what was transpiring. During the moments it took for Jeffrey Spaide to return to his home for a more powerful weapon to finish the executions, the teens are asking if they can help. You will have to watch the documentary to hear from one of the teens. It's linked in the description box below. Jeffrey was walking towards them, rifle in hand, while one of the teens had his back turned and did not immediately notice Spaide was returning. I literally thanked God he did not spiral into hurting them as a form of collateral damage from witnessing it and seeing his face. We know how that sometimes happens. But Spaide was focused on his targets, which were obviously Lisa and James Goy. When he shouted and shot Lisa Goy saying, "You should have kept your effing mouth shut," we learned in that moment, there's your motive. It was her mouth. Then he walked over to James and fired more rounds into him, asking something I can't repeat here on YouTube, but let's just say it was a derogatory term for the female anatomy, or what you might call an adult cat. That told all of us that he was done and fed up with the homophobic slurs and bullying. So that Facebook tribute page or fan page, whatever it's calling itself, is disturbing for me because I fear it may influence someone to be a copycat and repeat this type of violence. The investigator in me wants the toxicology reports on all three of them. It is hard to imagine a sober person taking things so far. Lisa and James Goy were parents to a 15-year-old child with autism. Wherever they are now, no parent can reasonably think this was worth it. It would have been better for one of them to just move someplace else. If they could not avoid conflict with each other, one of them should have taken the high road, the road that would have them be alive and able to continue their lives focused on what is truly important in life. I do not understand their obvious sense of entitlement and aggressive attitudes. James Goy is heard threatening to assault Spaide, and authorities said he threw a tool at Spaide, which he had been using earlier to remove snow. And to boot, James Goy had the audacity to threaten to continue the harassment in the future. That tells me he was intentionally seeking to make life miserable for Spaide. I do think that was the tipping point amongst all of the insults and past disputes. The most pressing thing I believe about this situation is that it was 100% preventable. I have heard others speak about how uncomfortable some people get with their silence or lack of interaction. People who are quiet or reserved have the right to be that way. In shared spaces, we have to turn up our common courtesy and respect. If a person makes the decision to not be social or mind their own business, they should have that right. No one is entitled to another person. One of my conspiracy theories is that the Goys were jealous of Spaide. If you look at Spaide's home, his was larger and nicer than theirs. It even came out in the documentary by neighbors that one conflict was about Lisa Goy using Spaide's driveway as a turnaround spot. Allegedly. According to authorities, the Goys were pushing the large amount of snow that was dumped on that region onto Spaide's property. Under such tense circumstances, it was rude and entitled to do that. I would have preferred someone call the police instead of grabbing a gun. But this story comes with many, many lessons. The first of which is, do not antagonize a person pointing a gun at you, right? The second lesson goes back to a rule we are taught as children, which is the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. We learned that the Goys were super territorial about space and property lines. If they extended that same courtesy to Jeffrey Spaide, they would have been good neighbors and asked if they could push some snow to an area he might approve of. Emotional intelligence left the chat, and gunfire kicked in the door and sprayed the place. And last, we never know the mental state of another person. This is a continuation of my conspiracy theories, which is Spaide could have been a man who moved on that block for a sense of peace. Perhaps he had mental health struggles or PTSD like some speculated about due to his military service. We will never actually know, but take this lesson with you. In a society with so many guns, it is far better to keep a cool head and not escalate heated situations. We never know if the person we are fighting with is mentally living on the edge, and your words and actions may be the push that takes both you and that person over. As I often say, I see no point in pulling up these painful events from the ashes of the past if it does not serve a greater purpose today, and usher in better understanding of how interconnected we all are through our actions, inactions, institutions, policies, and civic duties. After all, we are one human family. If you made it to this point in the video, you should stay and check out our comments cafe. I don't think they ever thought it would go that far, as they pushed him for so long and he never did anything. It's sad how it all ended, but to be in a man's face you've repeatedly pushed, asking him to shoot you while he's coming towards you with a gun is insane. They effed around and found out. Saying someone deserves to die over words proves Satan is controlling y'all, and y'all need to wake up. Jehovah, please send Jesus. These people are lost. Watching this episode of Fear Thy Neighbor now, thinking, wow, it didn't have to go this far, shake my head. People need to learn to respect one another's property and respect one another's boundaries. Shoo, I just checked the full video on Google. That's brutal. Why did I smile without trying when they got blasted? Watch the documentary about this story and you won't really feel too bad for the both of them. Where is his pick? Splattered. One of those situations where pretty much every neighbor is secretly saying, finally happened, thank God. PSA, when a person approached with a gun, leave. Don't challenge them to shoot you. That's all. Thank you. So many people were outraged on Reddit saying that they didn't deserve to die. It is sad that the couple were such pieces of poo when they should have been caring for their son. But unfortunately, they were pieces of poo. They bullied another person, not to mention someone who served his country. They deserved what they got. I'm just sorry for Jeffrey Spaide that those poo bags drove him to that. And I am sorry for the loved ones of both Spaide and the poo bag couple. After watching the video, all I can say is, what the F? When someone comes at you with a gun, go the other direction. Don't keep showering them with insults. Mind your own business and don't be a brown hole. The dude came back with an effing rifle and finished him off. That's some cold-blooded poo. There had to have been some serious backstory on this one. In my youth, I was more likely to be with stupid people doing stupid things than I have been for the past couple of decades. Along the way, I discovered that those least capable of dealing violence are usually the instigators, and they live in their own fantasy in which others are like them, willing to get mouthy and loud, but nothing more. Some learn the hard way and just get a few teeth knocked out, but for some, it proves their final lesson on this planet. Those most capable of using force tend to be quiet people and walk away from trouble. Funny how that works. Excellent lesson in behavioral science here. Throw your waste on a neighbor's property, call the neighbor a fuzzy and a beer, then tell them to go F himself, then top that off by yelling to him, go ahead, when he comes back with a pistol. The tragedy is that the neighbor, Jeff Spaide, unalived himself. That's what happens when you get really mad before having a good breakfast. James and Lisa were perfect for each other, equally outspoken and outrageously stupid and self-destructive. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I appreciate you and welcome you to our growing community that I call the Crimisphere. I welcome you to consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out and pushes us up in the algorithm. If you want to see more content like this, please like the video on your way out. Click the bell icon to receive notifications when I upload new videos. But before you go, could Jeffrey Spaide have won a stand your ground case against them? Like if this had not ended with everybody being unalived? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Until our next conversation.